How about now? There we go. Okay. Good morning, friends. Welcome to another painting stream. Welcome to Friday. It's not going to be finishing Friday today because although we were very much on schedule going into yesterday, I hit a bit of a bump in the road. I just had a totally irrational, no reason whatsoever for it, day full of depression yesterday. I took a day to wallow in misery and sleep and play video games. And now here we are. We're back. And we're going to do some painting and some building. And we're going to get back on track. And I'm going to muddle along as best as I know how. It's, sometimes the world can be overwhelming, friends. And I'm lucky in that most of the time I can get through it without much trouble. Yesterday was just not one of those days. Anyways, let's go to overhead cam and take a look at some of the minis that we're going to be working on today. We have been working this week on the Raptoryx from the Warcry demo that I have been painting for the last couple of months. And we have 3 Raptoryx that I'm working on. Give me a sec, I'm just fixing the camera here. There we go. Okay, overhead cam. Here we are on overhead cam. And here is one of the 3 Raptoryx. So we've got this fellow here. I'm pretty happy with how they came out. The base coats are mostly done. I need to prime the bases. I have to put some primer on there. And then I have to paint the bases. And I have to do a wash on the figures. And then it's just edging and details, which I can do sometime, I don't know, maybe next Monday. Anyways, here are the 3 Raptoryx. And I also, while we wait for paint to dry today, I'm going to do a little bit more work on this Ork Pain Boy that I started work on Wednesday. So I'm going to be painting this during my next community art day, which is Monday the 5th of July. And it is my first orc that I have ever assembled. He's a cute little fella. He's got so many little gewgaws and doodads. But I have ambitious plans for how I'm going to paint that. So, as always, with this stream, I am trying to push my abilities and do something I'm not super familiar with or comfortable with. That's the whole point of this stream, is to do things that otherwise I would have no excuse to do. So for Community Art Day next month, I'm going to be doing that. But for right now, let's get some surface primer onto these folks. So we're using this, just Vallejo black surface primer. This stuff is hard to get a hold of. All the Vallejo paints have been really hard to get a hold of since the pandemic started. They are manufactured in Spain, and it's, I don't know, global shipping is messed up still, and it is very, very hard to get a hold of Vallejo paints these days, which is upsetting to me because they're my preferred paint brand. It's what I use, 80 or 90% of the time. Anywho, yeah, so, oh gracious, this bottle is sort of gummed up here. It's okay. Let's get some of this out. Yeah. You can see that it desperately wants to get to my... God freaking... Okay. Okay. The little things today. There we go. Okay, we're fine. Everything's fine, Chad. I have no idea why my brain decided to betray me yesterday and just fill with lies, but it did. And I spent yesterday feeling miserable and like I was not capable of anything, that I was not good at anything, that nobody really cared, that I was having no impact on the world. My brush here is kind of stiff. I didn't clean it enough last time I used it. It's not good. But I can't allow myself to wallow forever. It's terribly easy to become obsessed with those kinds of thoughts. And I don't want that in my brain right now. So I'm just gonna do some art. I think that's, for me, the best way. Like I said, I'm lucky enough to I have a good support network, and most of the time my brain doesn't do this to me. I do have friends who struggle with persistent, ongoing clinical depression, and for them, simply having a cup of coffee and painting a model is perhaps an insurmountable task. Like getting out of bed and taking a shower are things that people struggle with. So I know I am lucky in my ability to face my depression in this particular way, which is, just get up, take a shower, get the stream going, log on, and start putting paint on models. This is how I move forward. Part of the difficulty that I encountered yesterday was the certain knowledge that I was falling behind on my goals, because I wanted to have this done yesterday so that I could do Finishing Friday today, because Finishing Friday is something I look forward to every week. It's an opportunity to complete some figures and mark them off my list. And the fact that I don't get to do that this week because of a random, stupid, depressive episode just added to my depression. Because thinking about it made me feel worse. And it sort of cascaded. It's like I'm bad at art and I am incapable of making the world a better place. And the fact that I was unable to get up the willpower to stream yesterday just confirmed that in my mind. That if I was good at art, I'd be arting now, not allowing myself to succumb to this. Man, there is a lot of loose grit on this base that is not well glued down. Oh well. Anyhow, getting back into the swing of things, the irony is, once I'm actually here and streaming and getting art done and putting paint on models, a lot of that noise fades away because I can concentrate on what I'm doing and I can escape from the feedback loop of the depression. Because I do enjoy painting. I mean, I'm the first to admit there's a lot for me to learn, and I'm not by any means an expert. I've been looking at like painting contest entries lately, trying to think about what skills I want to work on and seeing what other people are capable of can be intimidating. Because I see these gorgeous models and astonishing techniques. I'm like, I can't do that. I'm no good. But then, the only way to get good is to do this. Sit here with a paintbrush in hand and put paint on models. And the more I do it, the more techniques I can practice, and the better my art will become. I am at this point where it's difficult to get primer onto the base without priming the model that I've already painted. I think every time I do this, I think I should do the base separate, and then I won't have this problem. When I do the Pain Boy for Community Art Day, I'm definitely going to leave the base unattached so that I can do work on the base and model without having to worry about the two interfering with each other, so to speak. Oh, man. Okay. The temptation is there to sort of push on the model, to lean it away from the base so that I can get into these spaces, but I'm afraid that I would snap it off. I don't want that. Like, I don't want to break this poor Raptoryx's leg. I've had to glue models back together before. Those of you who have been watching me since the beginning of the stream will recall one of the terrain pieces, the giant bell terrain piece that has the two skeletons in cages hanging from it. One of the skeleton cages popped off and I had to glue it back into place. Added a little bit of support in there. Hopefully it's now stable enough for general use in the store. Like, this is a demo that's intended for in-store play, I anticipated taking a bit of abuse. We'll see. Okay. Getting to the harder bits here. Under the wing. When I was doing the last batch of Raptoryx and I was doing this, I, without noticing, somehow did like a huge blep across the back of one of the Raptoryx, which was particularly annoying at the time because I had already done a wash on that Raptoryx. So when I repainted over the primer blep, it was fairly apparent what area had been repainted. So I'm trying not to get paint on the model this time. I already got a little bit of paint, you can see here on that claw, but that's easily fixed. Okay. Come on. Oh, I'm so tired, chat. I'm so tired. Being depressed takes a lot out of you. The temptation to just go to bed and let the world get on without you for a while is almost overpowering. But since part of what feeds my depression is a lack of accomplishment, allowing myself to do that, to go back to bed and just sleep the sleep of the incredibly depressed, allowing that to happen would actually just create a feedback loop and allow me to become more and more depressed. So I am making an effort to get some stuff done, because that'll help break that cycle. Alright. That's that done. I think that's going to be the hardest one to do today, in terms of getting the paint on the base there. Coffee helps too. Coffee definitely helps. I know it's self-medication, and I don't know, if my depression were more consistent or regular, or if it wasn't a once, maybe monthly thing, I would definitely seek professional help and work to find a chemical solution, because, and I've talked about this before on my stream, part of how the brain works is the chemistry of all the things that sustain the brain. And I think it's important to recognize that that is something you can hack. In my youth, I very much believed that there was a unadulterated, pure self. There was me, and that using chemical alterations on me was, I guess, cheating in a way. It was giving in, and it was I'm trying to think how to put this, like how it felt in my head that it was being dishonest to my quote-unquote true self. And there are a lot of things about me, especially in my youth, that I defined in terms of obeying rules. I was very much about knowing what the rules are and following them. I was never much of a rebel as a kid. Good morning, Sphere Song. Hello, hello, welcome. I'm talking about the fact that yesterday I took a mental health day and got nothing done and felt bad about it. And I'm talking about how I am lucky enough that I can fight my way out of such an episode. I wouldn't say it's just by force of will. In general, I have a fairly positive outlook. So, yesterday notwithstanding, I'm able to self-medicate to a degree with a couple big cups of coffee, and sometimes it's a struggle to get out of bed and work on getting something done, but I can still do it. Oh. Okay. It's okay, chat. Just got a lot of primer on the model, I'll tell you. Okay. But not all people are able to overcome a depressive episode by just getting up and taking a shower and having breakfast and getting coffee and setting up a stream and hanging out with friends and painting. Some people need more assistance to be able to accomplish that. And as I was just saying, in my youth, I considered assistance to be cheating to a degree, and that's just not true, chat. It's not true. It's not cheating to try to make your life better. Hello, Shoebalm. Welcome. That's a new name. I'm not familiar with Shoe Balm. I am pleased to see you here in chat. Sorry if this is kind of heavy stuff. I took a day away from my stream yesterday because I was just having a bad brain day and felt inadequate. But here I am. I'm back. And I'm sort of talking about my thought process and the importance, if you are somebody who is not as lucky as I am, in terms of brain chemistry and mental health, in that most of the time, 80-90% of the time, I'm able to silence the voices of self-doubt in my head and just press on and get things done. But if you are not somebody like that, if you require further assistance, I encourage you to seek it out. Because I am, by and large, in favor of using technology to improve our lot in life. And, you know, most of the time when I say that, I'm talking about, okay, improvements in mechanization to allow us to feed a larger population without relying on unfair labor practices, things like that. But at the same time, it can mean hacking our brain chemistry to make life more tolerable and to make us more productive and happier. That's okay too. Hack the planet. Do what you can, friends. If you are able. To make life easier. Why make life harder? Right? I mean, I live life on easy mode. There is no denying it. I am a straight white male of a certain age with a certain upbringing in America, raised in the 80s and 90s. I have many, many advantages. And I know this. My life is definitely easy. I do not begrudge anybody an attempt to make your life easier. Coffee, though. Man, coffee is a miracle. See, Shoe Balm, I'm not sure I agree that antidepressive pills are horrible. I don't think that's true. I think a walk in the woods can be a wonderful thing. I don't tend to go outside if I can possibly avoid it. For me, this past year has been, and I realize this is not true for most people, or for many people, but this past year has been my best life. Being trapped in my apartment with my wife, my cats, my video games, that is sort of my ideal life, and that is how I would live if I were a multi-bazillionaire. I would never go outside again. But, that having been said, nature is a wonderful thing. I have the window open right now. I'm getting a nice breeze. And I used to take regular camping trips, and hiking is a spectacular activity, but it's not going to help everybody. And I think some people should, if they have it as an option, accept chemical enhancement as a means to improve their lives. I understand that I'm lucky that such chemical enhancement is not something that I require. I can have bad days like yesterday, and eventually I recover, and I can move forward. I have some friends for whom that is not an option. Yeah, a fair point, both of you, that I would say brain science is still very much in its infancy at this point, and finding the right means of altering your brain chemistry is still very much a scattershot thing, and that's, I don't know. As a futurist, I like to believe that we will, over time, gain a better understanding of the human mind and how to better manipulate it. That having been said, I have friends who would not be around today if they did not have some means of modifying their thought processes to accept that their brains are lying to them when they say that they are not worthy of being alive or or that the world would be a better place without them. I have several friends who would 100% not be here today were it not for the ability to modify those thought processes. Making progress. I'm going to have to redo some of the painting on the back of this model here because I dropped it while doing that base work. It's okay. It's okay, chat. Everything's fine. You're going to get there. It doesn't help that when I am exhausted from depression, I lose some coordination. It's okay. It's easily fixed. Take a little more practice painting. Making some progress today. It's moving forward. I'll say generally when I'm depressed, the things that I do, instead of, taking a walk outside or whatever, I tend to buy myself a new video game, because playing video games is very much something that I do when I'm feeling down. Video games are something that make me feel better. So I'll often buy myself a new video game. This week I have been playing Ratchet and Clank on PS5, Rifts Apart. I'm getting very close to the end of it, I think. Spent a lot of time yesterday doing side quests and finding collectibles. And now I'm back to main quest stuff. And as often happens in video games, spending a lot of time doing side quests means that I'm kind of OP now when it comes to the main quest. Playing it on standard difficulty, and at this stage, even boss battles are not much of a challenge for me. So I've got a couple of puzzles to solve, and I'll be done with that game pretty soon. But yeah, playing video games is definitely something I do to take my mind off of things. Doesn't help me when I'm feeling unproductive, because much as I enjoy saving the universe in various games, it's not doing much to make the world a better place out here in the world that we all share. But it helps me. Coffee helps. I am such a coffee addict. Occasionally, mostly when I'm on vacation, I'll try to wean myself of coffee a little bit and go a few days without, and I get so cranky and I get so headachy. I have such a fierce dependence on caffeine. It's not something I'm super proud of, but it is a fact. And nowadays, now that I've got this stream, I'm hoping that spending time painting and hanging out with my chat will be a positive benefit for my mental health. Certainly it's nice to have you folks here to talk with. And one thing about doing some painting for me is that it feels super productive. I can look back at this after I've gotten some paint on it, and I can say, look at what I have done. This thing that before I started was shapeless, now is unique, because I tend to paint things in a manner that is different from the way they're generally done. It's something that I did. I've done something creative, and I have something physical that I can look at that shows what I've been doing with my time. That's a huge benefit for me. Like, I can look at all these figures that I've been painting and I can say, okay, yeah, I've spent hours and hours and hours hunched over a desk. But look what I've done. And I love making plans. I love thinking about what I'm going to do next. As soon as I am done with what I'm doing right now, which is just getting this primer onto this base so that I can move forward with it, while we wait for some of the paint to dry, I'm going to work a little bit more on the Pain Boy that I have been assembling, the Ork Pain Boy, which is what I'm going to paint during my next Community Art Day, which is July 5th, Monday, July 5th. I've decided I'm going to have Community Art Day as a recurring thing for my chat and for my stream. So if you have any art you've done that you want to share with the chat, post it to my the art channel in my Discord. You share your accomplishments channel. So let's put the Discord in chat. And if you make it orky, yeah, that's the plan. So yeah, if you post any art that you're working on in my Discord and give me permission to show it off during Community Art Day, I will feature it during my Community Art Day stream, and we'll sort of we'll look at it as a group. We've got some cool stuff in there from last month. My wife Amanda, who is, I believe, Merriman Lion in the chat, or is Merriman Lion in the Discord, posted a bunch of pictures of Starship Samurai figures she had painted and Dark Crystal figures she had painted. If you look further back, there's pictures from moderator Insidious Pie. She has been producing necklaces and bracelets that she sells on her Etsy store, and they're very cute. And Novocaine for the Souls has posted in the Discord a bunch of pictures. He is doing a vast Sauron army for Age of Sigmar. I'm really impressed with Novocaine's ability to get large amounts of painting done in a short period of time. There are, I think we counted 29 figures in this Warcry demo that I've been painting, this Warcry set, and it has taken me about 3 months. I spent a month doing nothing but terrain, because there's a lot of terrain. And I did sometime before I started streaming my art, working on the golems, the iron golems. But then I've painted all the untamed beasts and chaotic beasts from the set on stream. And I started that at the beginning of May. And here we are, the middle of June. I'm still working on them. So yeah, it's taken me many, many months to do 30 figures, 29 figures. And Novocaine has painted armies that size in days. Of course, he's doing sort of a mass production on them. He does a lot of airbrushing, which I don't do because I don't have an airbrush, and assembly lining. But that doesn't make it any less impressive. Alright. Chat, if you'll excuse me for a moment, I'm going to refresh my paint water because it is now black. Because I have been using this brush-on surface primer and it leaves the paint water just pitch black. Look at that. So I'm going to pause for just a second and refresh my paint water. I'll be right back. In the meantime, enjoy some Miracle of Sound.
Black fires in the city sky, they shimmer and shine tonight. Act-wise and electric eyes and a million flashing lights. And I can wish myself away, change the parts that bleed decay. Tech dreams of organic toys that are running out on the edge. Soft screams of the rocker boys are echoing through my head. Clowns and demons mechanized. Biotech behind our eyes. Not just another riding solo in the car. Electric arrows will ignite. Not just another lonely nomad on the road. I'm a ghost in the city, I'm a ghost in the city of night.
And I'm back. Hey folks. Hopefully this is working. Yeah, okay. Just wanted to make sure my sound is on. So here we are. We've gotten some work done. I need to fix that blep that I did on this figure. So let's quickly do that. And then we'll work on a wash on these Raptoryx. The wash should be a lot of fun. It should get a lot done. Alright, so thinking about what I need to do to fix this. So this blep went here, across this foot here, so that's quick and easy to take care of. And then here on the tail. That's a little annoying because this is an area where I had done a fade from green to blue, so we'll have to redo that. Fine. Gives me a chance to practice a technique that I'm not super good at, so that's always nice. Sphere Song, I love hearing about your D&D ambitions. You want to play an Orc Artificer? That sounds like a lot of fun. We just started this week allowing D&D sessions in the store again at the game store that I work at. It's been a long time, chat. So it was really nice to have some folks in playing some D&D. Okay, so I fixed that foot. Quick and easy. Now to fix the tail. It's a little trickier. So we're doing the fade. Just need a tiny dab of green and a tiny dab of blue. And then we're going to use a bit of, oops, that came out more watery than I intended it to. A tiny bit of wet brush blending to make the green at the base blend to the blue at the back. So for anybody who hasn't seen me do this before, this is a technique that I really, really want to get better at. So it's something that I've been practicing a lot, which is you get some of one color at one end and the other color at the other end, the other extreme. And then while the paint is still wet, you sort of blend it on the figure. And I'm picking a little bit more up on the brush and just doing a little bit of, it's like using the figure as a palette. Like I said, not a technique that I am adept at, but one that I want to practice and work with. The end result should be that you don't have a sharp line between one color and the other. This is why it was frustrating for me that I messed this up today, because this is something that I had done a little bit of work on already. Passable. That'll do. Okay. I noticed earlier today that on the back of one of the roughs, there were areas that needed touching up. These are not areas that are super visible most of the time, so it doesn't have to be super great. There. Okay. Progress. Alright. So I also need to fix this bit of the tail here. That deck tan, that's the off-white that I'm using there. Sphere Song, I love this idea. So, for your mech boy, Ork Artificer, you're going to use the noble background feature that gets you 3 commoners to follow you around, and your 3 grots are your commoners. Brilliant. I mean, Wizards of the Coast is doing a Warhammer 40k Magic set. Why couldn't they do a Warhammer 40k D&D set as well? The answer being that Games Workshop actually has official Warhammer role-playing game. Actually, it's not published by Games Workshop, but it's licensed, so they've already licensed their stuff for role-playing. Okay, we fixed the error, folks. Everything's fine. At least good enough. Now, wash. So for the wash, switch brushes again. I'm just using this medium shade brush for washes and priming and anything that's less precise. So the wash on these figures we're using is Agrax Earthshade. It's a brown wash. This was actually a suggestion from Novocaine when I was contemplating what wash to use. He recommended a strong contrast to the green, and it definitely came out looking great. Oh, Lobster, welcome. How long should I let the paint dry before I do a wash over it? I mean, it should be dry. So I'm going to do that tail portion last. So we'll let that dry. I've got 2 other full figures to put a wash on before we get to that. Okay. So there's a lot of cool detail in these models that's not immediately apparent until you start doing the wash. They have these sort of sculpted in pock marks, and the wash really catches those and makes them look cool. So when I did the wash on the other 3 Raptoryx, I did put a wash over the feathers on the wings, and I'm wondering if I'm gonna skip that this time on this model, or on these 3 that I'm working on now. On the one hand, if I don't do it, they're going to definitely look more vibrant and brilliant than the ones that I already did. On the other hand, I feel like it didn't really accomplish what I wanted it to do. So here's the one that I did the wash on the wings, and it just makes them look dirty. Yes, it highlights some details in the sculpt, but I don't think it really improves the look of it. So I think perhaps we'll go very light on the wash with the wings, if we do a wash at all on the wings. But definitely all of the talons are enhanced by a wash, just because it adds a little bit of texture. Oh, look at this. Chat, look at that. I'm so sloppy. I forgot that I painted the tip of that talon while I was doing these bases. Quick and easy to fix, though. There. All better. Yeah, I pretty much agree, Lobster. The shiny wings look so good. And the wash doesn't really enhance them. Like, here on the body, the wash is making it look more interesting. And on the wings, it just made them look dirty. But the wash does so much to make the figure look more organic and real. Just look at that. Look how it gets into the model and brings it to life. I love it. We're going to do some dry brushing on the belly here, just because I wanted to bring a little more color into these models. So we're going to do some dry brushing on the belly. Probably not today, because we have to wait for all this to dry. There's a lot of crevices in these models that the wash really catches. So in an ideal world, chat, I would have done all of this yesterday. We'd only be doing fine detail work today. Sadly, this is not an ideal world. Doing better today, though. Go a little bit light on the wash on the cowl here. So I put so much effort into this fade. I don't want that to disappear into the brown. Chad, I love this song so much. This is Miracle of Sound's Valhalla song for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And I feel like this is one of his best songs in the last couple of years. It's so good. Okay. Now that figure looks appropriately grimy now. Let that dry and then we'll possibly get to do some highlights today. I don't know if we'll get to highlights today or not. So, Spheresong, Miracle of Sound has actually put out several public statements about the use of his music. That's Gavin Dunn, the songwriter and primary musician for Miracle of Sound. And he's basically said, as long as you provide credit and a means for people to purchase the songs, you're free to use his material in any live streams. He's been forced to put copyright claims on any YouTube videos that use his music because scam artists were starting to claim his music, which was just super scummy. So he's used the copyright claim system that YouTube has. He's not trying to monetize your stream. He's just trying to stop other people from monetizing it against his wishes. So the short answer is, it's not an individual licensing arrangement that I've made. I've been thinking about licensing some other music, contacting other indie music developers and getting permission to use their music in my stream. But one of the reasons that I chose to use Miracle of Sound is that he's so very open about allowing to use his music. And of course I love it. But I feel like it could not hurt to have a little more variety in the music in my stream. I keep bumping the wash pot with my finger and having flashbacks to the wash disaster with the blue wash when it toppled over and poured over everything. I should perhaps find a better means of securing the wash when I'm using it than just having it sitting here on my paper towel, on my paint station. If anybody wants to watch the Great Wash Disaster, I think there's a clip. Oh, I didn't even see the spam bot. Thank you, Amanda. Eliminated the spam bot before I even got to see it. Thank you. How'd your story time go? There's a blep here on the model. I don't know what it is. It's something under the paint. I don't know where it came from, but I'm ignoring it. It's a strange imperfection. Getting these washes done is pretty simple. I think it's having the desired effect, making the model look more interesting. Like, here you go, chat. Here's before wash and after wash. It's pretty dramatic. Just about done with this figure. There we go. Cool. One more. Yeah, I do like Jules's playlist as well. She has the soundtrack for Arcade Spirits, which is something that Two Flower, one of the creators of Arcade Spirits, has said is free for use in any stream. He's not going to make any copyright claims on it. They paid the artist to create the music, and when they did, I guess it was with the understanding that it could be used in such a manner that they retained the rights to prevent monetization. Oh my goodness. Chat. Still having coordination issues. And got some wash where I didn't want it here. Let's wash that out. There we go. I'll tell you, Chad, I'm still struggling, but I'm feeling a lot better than I was yesterday. And being able to spend time with you folks is good. Yesterday when I was feeling so down, I felt guilty about not streaming, and that made me feel more down. It's not fun, chat, having that sort of feedback loop going on in your brain. Don't recommend it. But we're here today, and we're getting stuff done. And thank you all so much for being here to keep me company, as always. Speaking of music, Loading Ready Run, who are streamers I have a great deal of respect for and attempt to emulate sometimes, they use a lot of music from Big Giant Circles. I want to see if what Big Giant Circles' licensing is like, because that's some awesome music. Sorry, back the camera there. Well, thank your fathers for your song. I am super happy with these wings, and they took so little effort. It's all really the sculpt and the paint that do the work there. There was very little in terms of technique. I guess the technique is in the color choice. But I am super pleased with how they came out. They look very brilliant. Alright, so these Raptoryx are pretty close to done. Not quite there. I have to paint the bases, which I just did the black primer on, so I'm going to have to wait for them to dry a bit more before I paint them. I have to paint those, and I have to do some highlighting. But then these Raptoryx, once I've done that, will be complete. I'll probably be doing that Monday. I have a lot going on Sunday, which is Father's Day, so I probably shan't have an opportunity to do any painting on Sunday. So on Monday, we'll do the finishing touches on these 3 Raptoryx. Well, maybe not all the finishing touches, but we'll be pretty darn close. I've got a little bit of work that I still want to do on the Furies. Like, there's one of the Furies that still needs a fair amount of work on it. So we'll do a little bit of work on the Furies. We'll do some work on the Raptoryx. We'll do that on Monday. Alright, so Big Giant Circles is pretty much the same as Miracle of Sound then. Provide attribution and a link so that people can purchase the music that they're enjoying. So that's cool. Alright, let's bring this fellow back out. This is the Pain Boy that I am constructing to be painted during my next community art stream, which is scheduled for July 5th. Monday, July 5th, I will be painting this fellow. So, unlike my last community art stream when I was working on a figure that I actually built from scratch on stream, I'm going to build this guy ahead of time and have him primed already so that I can just dive right into the painting. I have an ambitious, perhaps too ambitious, plan for how I'm going to paint this figure. I talked about it a little bit, but my plan is to make it look very comic booky. I'm going to use bright primary colors and try and do a sort of cel-shaded look. So less blending and more sort of stippling between colors to make it look sort of like newsprint. That's my plan, at least. We'll see how that goes. But before I can get there, I have to finish building him. Yes, exactly, Lobster of Revenge. Lots of dots. Yeah, if it works, it'll be super neat. We'll see. I could have chosen an easier figure to do it with. I love this figure. This Pain Boy is super, super cool. But he's got so much fantastic fine detail. So it's going to be a tricky balancing act to get that fine detail highlighted in such a stylistic manner. We'll see how it works. We'll just have some fun with it. But in the meantime, I still have 2 more pieces to glue onto him. He's got this, his lower arm here with sort of this hanging bit with some stuff dangling from it, and then his giant metal claw. So, lower arm first. That is this part here. This is the first Ork I have ever assembled. So, I'm looking forward to painting him on Community Art Day. It's certainly going to be an adventure. trim off some of the flash here. Yes, you only need one orc to begin. So yeah, I'm a little nervous about this ambitious plan of mine, but if I can get it to work, even a little, as long as it reads, it doesn't, you know, it's trying something new and unusual, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Wow, they could have made this easier. Huge hunk right here where this was linked to the sprue. I could probably have trimmed it closer to the piece, but getting there. Yeah, that's not bad. This is why whenever people are modeling in the store, we end up with little gray bits of sprue dust everywhere. We have to vacuum very frequently after folks have been modeling. Okay, so before I get my glue out, let's figure out how this is going to attach. So this goes here somehow, right? Let's consult the instructions. Okay, so I see. That connects there, like here. And then, yes, so this little rope here is the other end of this. Okay, got it. We frequently have people starting orcs in the store, and orcs are a mob. As an army, there's usually quite a few of them. So when people are doing orcs in the store, like with Necrons or Tyranids, they're usually doing huge numbers of models all at once. There we go. While that dries, let's get his claw out. Orcs is the biggest and the strongest. I'm certainly curious to see what happens to 40k orcs when the new army comes out for Warhammer Fantasy. Because Ironjaw's, I believe, the Warhammer, the Age of Sigmar Ork army, Ironjaws are legal in 40k. I think they have rules to do that. Sort of like Age of Sigmar demons can show up in 40k. So I'm curious to see how the new Ork army that they're premiering next month impacts 40k. This model is so wild. I love it. Okay, done with that. Empty sprue in the trash. There it goes. A little bit of trimming here. And we'll glue this claw on. So this, if you can hear the music here, is something I really like about Miracle of Sound. He's got several motifs that he brings across from song to song. So like all of his, well, most of his Fallout songs have this motif here. And he's got several Assassin's Creed songs, and they all have a similar phrase that they use in them. So it's almost like he's writing, as he's writing multiple pieces, they all are related to each other if they're from the same game series. Can we take a moment to appreciate this giant claw that this file has? It's got like a blade. It's got these like syringes. It's got a little saw. It's got this chompy bit here. What a spectacular, weird thing. Swiss Army Ork, exactly. As long as all the things on the knife involve mutilating. Alright, so this is going to attach up here somehow. Like that. Okay, so this to there. Okay. And then these two little bits here should go to the back of the syringes. This is going to be a little tricky, folks, because there's 4 points of contact here, and I want to make it as good as possible. Let's see if I can get this to work. No Phillips head screwdriver? I mean, can you think of a way to make a Phillips head screwdriver deadly? If so, sure. Okay. I'm going to put just a dab of glue on the back of this. Just a dab. Doesn't take much. And then dab of glue on each of these. Oh, gracious. That was way more than I wanted. That's fine. Everything's fine. And then just a little glue here. There. All right. Let's see if we can get this to work. That goes there. This goes here. And then these connect there. Oh, lovely. It just worked. I thought I was going to have to manipulate these a little bit more, but it connected perfectly. All right. That is certainly an extremely fun-looking piece. Oh, I can't wait. Can't wait, chat, to start painting this guy. Just looking at him, I'm like, ah, look at all these bits. I'm thinking about paint scheme right now. Like how I'm going to paint him. Almost tempted to get a second one of these to paint in a conventional manner, because yes, it's going to be a lot of fun to do in an unconventional and weird way, but I feel like this is a model that could be fun to paint in just a regular way as well. Not super happy with the way the trimming went on his head there. I tried to file it to make it look a little better, but it just looks messy. Alright, so I'm going to take this to work with me, and I'm going to prime it so that it is ready to go. And on Monday, July 5th, during Community Art Day, I'm going to be painting this figure, and I hope that you folks will be able to join me when I do that. Oh man, Lobster of Revenge with the Robin Hood Prince of Thieves deep cut there. Alright. I think that is all the damage that I can do today. I am so pleased that you folks could join me. Like I said, today was a challenge for me. I had to take yesterday off. I just couldn't make myself stream, and I felt bad about it, and feeling bad about it made it even worse. So I'm glad I was able to get some stuff done today. We've got our 3 Raptoryx inching closer to complete. We've got our Pain Boy ready to be primed. Today's going to be a busy day at the store because Modern Horizons 2 officially releases today, and we've got the Love Your Local Game Store promotion going on, so anybody who is near to a local game store that carries Wizards of the Coast product, go check them out today, because you can probably get yourself a unique alternate art foil promo just for making a purchase of $50 or more sealed magic product at the store. So I'm anticipating today being quite busy at the store. I'm going to get a little rest, get a little lunch, brace myself, and maybe play a little bit more Ratchet and Clank. Thank you so much, friends, for being here. It really means a lot to me that you were able to join me and hang out with me while I got some painting done. I will see you folks next Monday Like I said, Sunday I have a lot going on, so I'm probably not going to be able to stream on Sunday. But I'll see you next Monday. We'll finish these Raptoryx, hopefully. Maybe. We'll see. Finish the Furies. And think about what we're going to paint next as we round out the rest of the month. In the meantime, be excellent to each other, friends. And enjoy whatever art it is you choose to do. Thanks for being here. Bye, everybody.